But when a desire arises, it covers our knowledge, covers our intelligence. And our knowledge, even those who have this knowledge of the truth, get deluded when these desires arise in the mind. As you identify and attach yourself to the higher, the subtler, easier it is to surrender the lower. When Arjuna asked the question, who or what is that powerful force that compels us to do something beyond our better judgment? We call that as papa. Papa means when we don't live up to our own convictions, when we don't live up to our own ideals, when we do something against our own better discrimination. So that is called as papa. And such actions naturally breed contrary results or sorrow for us. So why do we commit sin? No? And that too also sometimes knowingly. So Bhagavan clearly says there is no such devil sitting out there with two horns and a tail. Yeah? It is kama, it is krodha, it is lust, it is anger. Rajoguna samudbhava, that creates agitations in the mind or which rises from the agitations or restlessness of the mind. And mind you, it is all devouring, all consuming and highly sinful. And know this to be our enemy. And we've already seen before in the second chapter that how it is kama only that becomes krodha. It is lust only that when not fulfilled, anything that seems to become an obstruction to fulfilling our desires, the onslaught with which we meet that obstacle or that person is called as anger. Having said that, now Bhagavan explains how this desire covers our intelligence, covers our right thinking, covers our intellect. In short, even though we know, yet when a desire arises, it as though veils our own knowledge. And therefore, this dichotomy that takes place, I know, but still, why did I do it? And Bhagavan gives 3 examples. Nothing is repetitive, really speaking, in the scriptures. Because our desires can be highly gross, tamasic, or rajasic, passionate, etc. Or even a noble desire, sattvic. But when a desire arises, it covers our knowledge, it covers our intelligence.
धूमेनाव्रियते वह्निः यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम्.
And Bhagavan says that dhumena vriyate vannihi. Just as fire is covered by smoke, the glow of the fire, the brightness of the fire, when there is smoke, and when the smoke is generally when the wood is wet, so then it gives out a lot of smoke, and sometimes the sheer blackness of the smoke covers the brilliance of the fire. Just as dust covers the mirror. Therefore, in Hanuman Chalisa also, Nicha Mana Mukura Sudhari, that it covers the mirror. So with a soot or dust covers the mirror, and the mirror can no longer give a clear reflection, or just as the womb covers the fetus. And these three examples Sri Krishna gives to show how a sattvic, rajasic or tamasic desire covers. Even a noble, good desire covers the fire just like smoke. A little whiff of air and it will go away. Thus, even in a noble person, when a good desire arises, it may cover the brilliance of the fire. But as Gurudev says, that sometimes that gentle smoke, in fact, gives it a unique beauty. Nevertheless, any desire covers our knowledge, and therefore, very easily, with a little remembrance of our goal, remembrance of the Lord, it can be easily removed. However, when there is dust on the mirror, you need some detergent and a scrub to remove it. And this is how rajasic desires are. But the very tamasic, addictive desires is like the womb covering the fetus. You cannot even see it. It gets completely covered, and only in time can that child be delivered.
Avritam jnanametena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena nalena cha.
Avritam jnanam etena jnaninaha nityavairina. That knowledge is enveloped, so jnanam avritam etena, by this desire, by this anger. And jnaninaha nityavairina. So knowledge is covered by lust. And it is the constant enemy of the wise. Of course, whenever we use the word jnaninaha in these contexts, it is not the enlightened person, but those who have got knowledge, those who have even lived a noble life, those who have got wisdom. But when a desire arises, it covers their knowledge, it covers their better judgment. And therefore, for a wise one, it's a constant enemy. And herein we have to reflect that desire is an enemy of everyone. But why of a knowledgeable person, a wise person, it's a constant enemy? Because in an ignorant person, when desire arises, thinks it's a very good idea. However, a wise one knows that the moment a desire arises, the agitations, the disturbance of his mind has already started. The inner conflict also starts. Should I not? Should I not? What will be the consequences? And therefore, for a wise one, it is an enemy from the moment it arises. For an ignorant one has a delusion that it's a friend. It's only when the consequences come, they realize that what an enemy was lurking within. So, Nitya Vairina and He Kaunteya, this enemy in the form of desire, Kama Rupena, in the form of desire, Dushpurena Analenacha, which is unpeaceable like fire. The more you put things in the fire, the more the fire burns to consume it. It is unending that one desire breeds many other desires and therefore indeed very difficult to appease. Now the question is, then how do I conquer this enemy?
इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम्.
And herein Shri Krishna teaches what you call as how to conquer this mafia. Any criminal who is intelligent will not have one place for hiding. Generally will have at least 3 places from where the person can hide, move around, so that is not easily caught. Now, where does this desire hide? Shri Krishna says that these are the 3 hideouts of desire. Indriyani, manaha, buddhihi. Asya adhishthanam uchyate. Adhishthanam, seat. Seat here means hiding place in our context. Indriyani, manaha, buddhihi. That the senses, the mind and the intellect is the seat of desire. Etaihi vimohayati eshaha jnanam avritya dehinam. By these, this desire deludes us, covers our wisdom of the person who's embodied in the body, senses, mind and intellect. The embodied one, dehinam, it deludes them. So when we are identified with our senses, mind, intellect, these desires, pleasures of the senses, the feelings and emotions, the confusions of our intellect, all these seem to delude us, and we get carried away by these desires with hopes for happiness in the future, or something which is beautiful, or something that we cannot live with. All these thoughts then delude us, and our knowledge, even those who have this knowledge of the truth, get deluded when these desires arise in the mind. And these desires may not necessarily be evil or vulgar, but when a desire arises with innocence, even for wanting of that golden deer, see how it can delude.
तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभा पाप्मानं प्रजहिह्येनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम्.
And the strategy is that when it has got 3 places of hiding, at least keep one place under check. So if this criminal has 3 places to hide, his mother's place, his wife's place, or his sister's place, wherever he wishes to hide, one place, if you can put a check, then you have only 2 places left. If you keep a check or a watch over 2 places, then you know there's only the 3rd place where it will, or where he or she will be. So tasmat tvam indriyani adhav. In the beginning, what is easy is these sense organs, which are constantly being attracted by sense objects. First, keep these senses under check. And therefore, these senses, the doorways or the windows, can be shut, or they can be stirred away from sense objects where you find that you are getting attracted. So, tasmat tvam indriyani adau niyamya. So, in the beginning, adau niyamya, the senses, indriyani, addressing Arjuna as the bull amongst Bharatiyas, or best among Bharatas, prajahi papmanam enam. Destroy this sinful desire, jnana vijnana nashanam, who is the destroyer of your knowledge as well as your life's experience. You know it has been harmful to you. Others have been harmed by it. Still people fall in those addictions. Yeah, isn't it? What mighty power of delusion this lust has. And therefore, do not fall a prey to it and destroy it. The moment you see, at least when you see an addictive or a desire that is harmful, immediately brooding over it should stop. Otherwise, it covers the knowledge and wisdom. And this is how people fall prey to even harmful addictions. They always feel that, oh, I'll be in control of it. I'm not going to be affected by it. A little of it is okay. See how it deludes, and therefore be very watchful. Then how will you conquer it? Because by mere control, we have seen it becomes very often a suppression. Sri Krishna points out, you can detach from the lower when you attach to the higher. As the embodied ego, jiva, soul, we are identified with our body, our senses, our mind, our intellect. With our senses, we perceive the world of objects and we find pleasure in the world of objects, the sense pleasures. In the mind, certain emotions, even joy, etc., rise, and we get attached to those in the mind. In the intellect also, there are certain thrills that arise of even discovery, etc., or venturing into something new, something different, daring, and we get attached to that. But if you see that the joys at the subtler level of these equipments is far greater than the grosser. For example, say enjoying a food by a diabetic person which is harmful to him. At that moment, it is pleasurable, but for a short moment, but its effect afterwards is quite long. And those pleasures are short-lived. But when you tell a person not to eat these harmful things, even though they are tasty, they cannot give up. But when there are emotions, when there is love for health, or even love for a family member, and you can't afford to fall sick, you're ready to give up these pleasures. At the same time, you have a sibling who is ill, and at that time you have a party or even an award ceremony. You'd rather look after your sibling, and the joy of serving is far greater than the joy of the pleasures which are short-lived. And those who are identified with the intellect, such as researchers, such as people who have got great ideals, or even whole country, etc., ideals, they're ready to sacrifice their pleasures or even their emotions, even ready to stay away from the family to go and fight, for the country. The ideals of the intellect give even superior joy.
इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धेः परतस्तु सः.
Indriyani parani ahuhu. They say, who, the wise ones, that far superior than the gross body and its comforts and inertia is the pleasure of the senses. And therefore they say the senses are superior than the body. Indriyebhya param manaha. Superior, subtler is the mind, and so are the joys of the mind, subtler and superior than the pleasures of the senses or the comforts of the body. Manasaha tu para buddhihi. And superior to the mind is the intellect, its ideals, its knowledge. Yeah. And therefore, even the joys that we get or the fulfillment that we get when we live our purpose, when we live up to an ideal, when we live up to our knowledge is far superior. But parataha buddhe tu saha. But higher than the intellect is he, the Atma, the self. So therefore, when our identification is with the subtler and the higher, in the higher satisfactions and joys, it is easier to give up the grosser and short-term pleasures or happiness. So we find that, and Shri Krishna is therefore saying, as you identify and attach yourself to the higher, the subtler, easier it is to surrender the lower. So here, higher than the intellect, the all-pervading Atma, which is of the nature of bliss, that Atma one can identify with, then all the desires that arise at the sense, mind and intellect level get easily dissolved, or let us say it gets conquered. So in the higher happiness, conquer the lower happiness. Because to give up anything is very difficult for us. Even if it is short-term pleasure, even though it will be harmful later, because that's how desire covers the intellect. But give your mind something more thrilling, something more joyful, something more blissful, and it will easily give up the lower. We have to expose our mind to the subtler, the nobler joys of the subtler personality. And then when we have got high goals and ideals in our intellect, it is so easy to surrender the lower, grosser desires. Then what to say about the person who has recognized the Atma as the very source of all happiness? For such a person to give up all these desires are not difficult or does not come under the influence of these desires.
एवं बुद्धेः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
And evam buddhe param buddhva. And in this manner, thus, recognizing that which is superior to the intellect, that which is beyond the intellect, and beyond the intellect is the pure consciousness, the awareness that is aware of even the thoughts of the intellect. Having realized that, samsthabhya atmanam atmana, restrain the self by the self. And here it appears the two self, because when body is there, the senses guide the body. So through the senses, master the body. Through the mind, master the senses. Through the intellect, master the mind. And going beyond the intellect, master even the intellect. By knowing that I am not the body, not the senses, not the mind, not the intellect. I'm this witness consciousness, beyond all of them, unaffected. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose when the senses, mind and intellect find joy or experience pain, loss, etc. Whenever people start living a selfish and sensuous life, giving no importance to the higher growth and potential, there is no value for such knowledge, there is no value for such teachers. The jiva, the individual ego, takes birth because of one's actions and one's vasanas, desires, and therefore is compelled to be born. And we come to recognize not only our own swadharma, our own nature and duties, but we recognize the absolute dharma, that is Paramatma.